Welcome to the Fighting on Film podcast, the podcast all about classic and obscure war movies, from the Normandy landings to the days of chivalry and swords. If it's been captured on film, we're going to try and cover it. I'm Robbie of RM Military History.
I'm Matthew Moss of Historical Firearms and the Armourer's Bench.
Hello, welcome back to Fighting on Film. This week we head to the war rooms and chart a course to the Denmark Straits for this month's Patreon pick. It is, of course, 1960s Sink the Bismarck, as voted for by our Patreon supporters. Don't forget, you can get involved and support the show for as little as £2.50 per month, and do give the show a 5-star review on your podcast app of choice, as it really helps the show be seen and found by new listeners, and gives us a great morale boost here at FOF HQ. Now, this one's for Matt as well. Before this hypnosis, or hypnoses, I have crunched the numbers and gone back through the FOF episode archive and tracked the stats for all of the FOF Patreon pick vote standings for us both. Since we started doing them in 2021, it took me about an hour and a half, but I crunched those numbers. So Matt comfortably leads the way with 32 vote wins to my 18.
Wow. 32.
32.
I don't know. I can't believe that, because it doesn't feel like I've won that many.
You really have, though.
Because you said you had a phenomenal 10 win spate at the beginning when we started doing
I had
Patreon.
a real big streak, and then it drops off massively. So this was me going through the list, then going to the film, then going back through our chat log and things like that, and go back through old notebooks. So it's as accurate as I can make it. And you are well in the lead right now, and you're actually on an unprecedented 5-pick vote streak. And this film is your choice too.
Well, I think we can safely say that the real winners are the listeners.
Well, you've incredibly wrapped that up in a lovely little bow, haven't you?
Just good choices.
Yeah,
good choices.
There's still time for me to claw it back. I might go mad like Kevin
We've
Keegan
got plenty
did
of time.
City.
Have no fear. We got war movies for years.
Yep. I'll send David James up at centre forward at the 90th minute.
No one knows what you're talking about football-wise. No one knows
They
that.
remember.
Don't know
Man
who that
City.
is.
They remember.
Nope.
Anyway. That's
No one
for
knows who
our
that is.
Manchester-based listeners. Anyway, hypnosis this week. During the Second World War, the Royal Navy goes on a full-throttle mission to destroy the Bismarck, Germany's most powerful ship.
The name's in the title, really, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So I'm straight into cast. I've called this one Moore's Last Dance, ? And key players only, war room staff and sailors, because this cast is absolutely jammed to the rafters with people, and I've tried to streamline it. So we have
They even sneak a cheeky little Victor Madden cameo
right
in at the end, don't they? It's insane. He has 2 seconds and one line of dialogue. You're like, is that Victor Madden?
Yeah, what's he doing in this? He's uncredited as well. I think the list of uncredited actors in this is huge. So we have Kenneth Moore as Captain John Shepherd. He's a former ship's captain turned war room officer. You'll know Moore for Reach for the Sky, Northwest Frontier, Dark of the Sun, and The Longest Day. Now, Moore himself had served in the Royal Navy during the Second World War on HMS Aurora and the carrier Victorious. And he spoke of making the film. In his 1978 novel, more or less, one of the best autobiography names ever. And he says, an exact duplicate of the operations room was built in Pinewood Studios, and we began work. During the war, Aurora, which I served, became the flagship of the 12th Cruiser Squadron under Rear Admiral Sir Cecil Harcourt, who had earlier played an important part for the search for the Bismarck. He was retired and living in London, and I thought it would be a nice gesture to ask him, as my old admiral, to come and see the filming. This was arranged, and we laid on a bit of a show for him. Before I moved ships on the operation board, I would ask him, "Is that all right, sir? Is that correct?" He was delighted. As he left, he shook us all by the hand. "This has made my day more," he said.
Oh, lovely. That's really nice.
Well, there's a sad ending to that little anecdote there, because his wife rang Moore a couple of days ago and said the Admiral passed away on the way home from the studios.
Oh.
Yeah. And he said it kind of put a bit of a shadow over the film, but he was really pleased that he got his old Admiral in to help on the film.
Yeah, that's almost like something out of a film in and of itself, isn't it?
It really is. Then we have Dana Winter as Anne Davis. She's a Wren working for Shepherd, and she's a German-born British actress known for her role in 1956's Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Some of her war film work includes D-Day, 6th
Classic.
of June. Oh, yes. In Love and War, and the TV version of 12 O'Clock High. Then we have Lawrence Naismith as First Sea Lord Dudley Pound. He played Captain Smith alongside Moore as Lightoller in A Night to Remember. Other roles pertinent to us include Carrington VC. He played the farmer in the Dam Busters, who moans about them bombers flying over, and in the Two-Headed Spy and Young Winston. Then we have Karl Stepanek as German Admiral Gunther Lutyens, as the Bismarck's admiral. He moved to the UK in 1940 and went on to work in the UK for the rest of his career. Many war film roles, including The Captive Heart, Operation Amsterdam, Operation Crossbow, The Heroes of Telemark, and I Aim at the Stars, which is I think it's a German-made or West German-made film about the V2 program. Then we have Karl Murnier as Captain Lindemann of the Bismarck. He was known for Camp on Blood Island, The Last Mercenary, which is a 1968 sort of spaghetti war mercenary movie that we need to seek out. And The Last Bridge.
Sounds like one for Meg Month.
So I'm going to speed run some of the commanders of some of the British ships featured in the movie. So we have Walter Hudd as Admiral Holland of HMS Hood, John Stewart as Captain Kerr of HMS Hood, Esmond Knight as Captain Leach of the HMS Prince of Wales. Knight himself served as a gunnery officer aboard the Prince of Wales during the battle and was seriously injured and blinded with the Battle of the Bismarck. Later in his career, he was able to regain some of his sight through surgery. Then we have Michael Horden as Admiral Sir John Tovey, C&C Home Fleet of the HMS King George V, or Fifth, as it's better known. Horden served as a lieutenant commander on the HMS Illustrious during the war. Lieutenant commander during the war. They'll write in if I don't say it the British way. Peter Dilnilly as Commander Jenkins, uncredited. Michael Balfour was an able seaman as the lookout on the Suffolk. Then we have Jack Gwilym as Captain Wilfred Patterson of HMS King George V. Gwilym himself served in 20 years in the Royal Navy, rising to the rank of commander. I've collected some of their credits. We have Quatermass II, The Importance of Being Earnest, The Battle of the V1, Lawrence of Arabia, and I Was Monty's Double. So nice. a real cavalcade there. Some of these chaps only get a line, though. So it's like, blink and you'll miss them with some of these fellas. And there's some real powerhouse actors in there. Like Michael Horden, if you go on his Wikipedia, he has a separate page of credits, and it is as long as your arm. It's incredible. Yeah. He even hosted Noel's house party, and they renamed it...
No way.
They renamed it Sir Michael's house party for the day. Yeah. Incredible references this week.
Some of them are like day rate kings, though, aren't they?
Really are.
They're just recognisable faces that we just get in a bag.
As we like to say,
doing a couple of lines.
Proper jobbers on this film, you know. And then finally, after all that, we have a cameo from the CBS London radio correspondent Ed Moreau, who reported from the Blitz in 1940 with his This Is London reports. And if you're a public service broadcasting fan, you'll know him from the War EP. That's the cast. I can finally breathe. Ooh.
Well done indeed. So, production, okay. Produced by 20th Century Fox. It was directed by Lewis Gilbert, who is a writer and director, best known for The Sea Shall Not Have Them, Reach for the Sky, Carve Her Name with Pride, which he also directed. He also directed Seventh Dawn, HMS Defiant, You Only Live Twice, Operation Daybreak, The Spy Who Loved Me, Moonraker, and then on the flip side of that, within that same career, he's directing things like Alfie, Shirley Valentine, Educating Rita. You know, so he's a very able
is incredible.
Director. He can do actor. He can do action. He can do comedy. He can do drama. Very ably directed, I think, this film.
A man for all matinees, if you will.
Yeah. Screenplay was by Edmund H. North, who also worked on HMS Defiant, Submarine X1, Patton, and Fireball Forward, 1972. It was based on The Last 9 Days of the Bismarck, a treatment by C.S. Forrester that apparently he wrote before he even wrote the book itself.
Oh, wow.
For 20th Century Fox. Forrester, of course, best known for things like Greyhound, the Hornblower series, Africa Queen, Sailor of the King, Commando, Striker Dawn, Eagle Squadron, to name but a few.
Yeah.
Very famous author with many film adaptations, some of which we've already covered on the show. In terms of cinematography, it doesn't slow down, Rob, because we've got Christopher Chalice as the cinematographer who has a whole incredible career. But in terms of our area of interest, we have Angels 1-5 in 1952, Battle of the River Plate 1956, Ill Met by Moonlight 57, HMS Defiant. HMS Defiant pops up quite a few times in here. So the production side of things, people knew each other.
Get me a man who's worked on a film about ships, please.
Yes. Models, marvelous.
Lovely.
So I think what it helps is sometimes I think if they've worked together before, it makes a film gel really well, and it can really like kind of lift a production sometimes. HMS Defiant 62, The Victors 63, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang 1968, The Lesser Force 10 from Navarone 1978. The Riddle of the Sands 1979, and of course Top Secret 1984.
That's a cavalcade, that really is.
Chalice's cavalcade of just great credits.
Top Secret is war movie adjacent, and we will do it.
Top Secret's a war movie.
It is. Yeah, no, it is. Yeah. Skeet surfing. Sorry.
Some of the filming took place on HMS Belfast. Some took place on HMS Vanguard. HMS Centaur stood in for Ark Royal, where the planes took off to torpedo. Yeah, we'll get to the alley tally.
Oh, come on!
Music by Clifton Parker, who again has a really incredible list of credits, beginning in the 1930s, active through into the 60s. He provided the scores for In Which We Serve, 1942, Western Approaches, 1944, The Wooden Horse, 1950, Sailor of the King, 53, Hell Below, 54, Sea of Sand, a fourth favourite, 1958, 39 Steps, also with Kenneth More,
wow,
1959, and HMS Defiant again, 1962. And then we're moving into the sort of special effects side of things, because the model work in this film is really phenomenal.
Supremo. It's so good.
John Steers was responsible for many of the ship models. His work includes Reach for the Sky, The One That Got Away, again HMS Defiant, From Russia with Love, Goldfinger, Thunderball, The Man with the Golden Gun, Soldier of Orange, and later on Navy SEALs, which we covered on the show.
Wow. Again, this is some incredible credits here. Really are.
It really is.
I think
special effects was
sorry to cut in there, but I think this shows when a movie is so revered like Sink the Bismarck is, it all makes sense when you start diving into the background on a production.
Absolutely. And the special effects coordinator actually, is another really good example of this. Special effects were provided by the legendary Howard Lydecker, who, along with his brother, provided kind of special effects for so many films. He worked at Republic Pictures for a long time, and they really refined this special effects style. So, explosions on models, etc. All Lydecker's work. The technical advisor on the film was Lieutenant Commander Peter Peake, Royal Navy, retired. It had a budget of a reported $1.3 million and a rental returns of $3 million. I couldn't find a figure for the box office specifically on its own.
It did well in America,
but it was
though. Yeah,
I was about to say it was a hit in both the US and in Britain, and arguably, probably made a great deal more than $3 million back on that. That rounds us out for the cast this week.
And don't forget
the production, I should say.
Yeah, don't forget the song that was released around the time. Yeah, well, no, apparently the reason the movie did really well in America was because of the song. So the song charting had a knock-on effect on the movie. And yeah, no, it's just, that's
back
really
in the
interesting.
days when music could still carry a film.
There's a cracking Blues Brothers version on YouTube that I listened to earlier. It's amazing, just incredible. And I will add to production that the sound recording was done by Westrex recording equipment. And if you are a
Of course.
British movie aficionado of the golden age, when you see recorded by Westrex, just know you're in for a treat. The sound quality is going to be crispy. That's all I'm saying.
Filmed in CinemaScope.
Oh yeah, there's just
And it was they decided purposely to film in black and white because they wanted to use the newsreel footage and some of the at sea footage.
yes, shot from the
And
Bismarck.
it would link in a lot.
Yeah, there's a
smoother.
horrific colorized version on YouTube. Don't watch it; it's terrible.
Oh, there's always a colorized version. Some heinous individual is out there
Horrible.
slowly
Yeah.
working their way through the classics.
All the Royal Navy uniforms look like mauve. It's weird.
Yeah,
It's not dress
AI
modes, it's
colorization
dress
is just-
blues. Anyway, on to this week's retro review, which comes from Variety from 1960. They say, and I'll use my plummy 60s voice for this because it's written in a quite plummy 60s way. Sink the Bismarck is a first-rate real film recreation of a thrilling historical event. The screenplay is taken from a book by C.S. Forester. Some of the dialogue is a little high-flown, with the British at times too aware of the historical importance of the event. The Germans, on the other hand, tend to be Nazi caricatures.
True.
When they
True
knocked
to
out
the,
the
to the
park
point
with
where
that one.
Lutyens is like portrayed as this like hyper
Mega
Nazi,
Nazi. Yes.
where he's like, he's like gets all of a flutter when Hitler sends him a telegram or something.
Yeah.
Allegedly, he wasn't that big of a Nazi, but
Yeah.
let's not get into the whole good Nazi,
Yeah.
good
yeah.
German.
And we're not
trope
really
thing.
in that. We're not. Well, I mean, I will say the movie is quite sympathetic to the German crew when the Bismarck's getting absolutely leathered near the end, and you do kind of feel sorry for them because they can't go anywhere. You know, the
That chap getting
steering
crushed by
system's
the
all
hatch
gone. Yeah.
does stick with you.
It really does. And then obviously the lads taking chaps out on gurneys, and you're thinking this is all not gonna it's not gonna pan out well for you. Anyway, so on to the one word reviews, and we had a plethora this week. That tends to happen when we pick a movie people have seen. So Tony Coward's comedian extraordinaire kicks us off with, does anyone else shout "Sink the Bismarck" when dropping the kids off at the pool? Incredible. I just had to get it out there. It's fantastic. Simon Massey puts stunning, especially Dana Winter. Kevin Getz goes tension. The Night Irish, more. Paul says C.S. Forrester. Jay McNoon says outstanding. Brian Williams, Hood. Bert Plumswang, amazing handle, says miniatures.
Cracking.
Stuart Fitzel goes stoic. Tony Wilshire, timeless. Eggs on Legs, 71. He says patriotic. Stephen Proctor, ships. Dr. Stephen Maturin, swordfish. Harvey Griffith, hubris. Gareth S. goes with the Adam Driver meme that just goes, more. Stephen Godson says nautical. And Ian Mays, he says shoot, but he says do it in a shouty voice. Shoot. There we go.
Yep. That would be mine
Fantastic.
as well.
But yeah, shoot. Yeah. Because I'm thinking it's not. Is it open fire at that point, or they just shoot? Is that the?
Shoot, because if you say fire, it sounds like fire. Like there's
Like
a
there
fire.
is a fire.
So they would say shoot.
Ah, that's interesting. I like that. I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so on to this week's Alley Tally. As you'll know, Fighting on Film and Warfare Media partnered up to give our listeners a huge discount on high-quality Cold War posters. But now there's more. Warfare Media also offers clothing and the chance to order OP4 DPM camouflage uniforms. Support the podcast and use the code FOF20 at checkout for 20% off your order. Don't delay, visit warfaremedia.net today.
It's time for Alley Tally on Fighting on Film.
There's boats.
There is a lot of boats, but I have to kick off this week's Alley Tally because I don't know where else to put it. And Matt has known about this for years, and it's time to talk about it on the show. So, back in 1992, there was a DOS game. Who remembers DOS out there? We're really hitting our demographic this week. A DOS game by SSI Interactive called Great Naval Battles, North Atlantic, 1939-43. Now, this film has just always had a real nostalgic place in my heart, because my late dad would sit at the edge of his bed with a cup of tea and a lung dart on the go and play it for hours. He would plot the course of the Bismarck and the Prince Eugen, like from actual charts that he had in a book. So he knew where they were going. He already knew where the Prince Eugen and the Bismarck were going. And then he had, I don't know if you remember these, Matt. Do you remember when it was really cool for like working guys in the 90s to have these big, massive graph notebooks, but they were like the size of a desk. So you could like rest on them.
Oh, yeah.
You could also write
my
on
dad gave me one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you put your keyboard on it, and then you could take your keyboard off it.
But you can also write on
And then
it.
if you needed to make notes, you could write on it.
Yeah, really cool. So he'd have one of them next to him, and he would plot his course because obviously the game's pixelated.
I'm picturing Big Steve. He's like looking at his watch, 11:32 a.m. Jots the time
It was
down.
literally like that.
Have not yet encountered Bismarck at these coordinates.
He'd play it on the real time feature, and he would sit there for hours. So I watched him play this a lot.
Hang on, Mel. I'm trying to sink the Bismarck here. Can you not?
It really was like that. So sometimes it'd be a beer, sometimes it'd be a Pepsi or whatever, but it was really funny, great time. And I remember one time, and I'm hoping I'm remembering it right, he bought the Suffolk and Norfolk alongside the Bismarck and then used the hood as a distance ranger, but like bought all the broadsides on and just hammered it to see what would happen. And then my favourite time when he won was he just rammed it with the Prince of Wales to see what would happen. It sunk both ships, but he was like, I won. So there we go. It's just a lovely little memory. And I found it if anyone wants to play this game, you can play this game in browser. DOS is a dead operating system. And I was playing it the other night, and my lord, is it complicated. So I'm threatening to do a Robbie Let's Play video for the FOF YouTube channel. So to see if that happens, because if I can get my head around it, I will do a full.
I need a full live stream.
Straits.
I need you being filmed. I need the screen. I need you with it. I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna Amazon you a desk chart.
Oh, we
pad
need it.
To write down your
This could be
your
the
maneuvers.
FOF's finest moment. It could be brilliant. Anyway, let's go on to the actual alley tally. Duffel
I will
coats.
go and sit in my cellar with a map, and I'll pretend to be Kenneth Moore.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
And I'll phone you and do the Kenneth Moore voice.
Now that would be something. That would be something. If you want to see it, folks, do write in to all the usual places. Anyway, just a little aside there. I just thought it was relevant.
Love it. And I also love that it crashed your MacBook
It
as well when you
did
first
it?
tried to launch
Yeah,
it.
it crashed Chrome. I was like, oh my God. That was Steve. He was like, no, son, that this is my territory now. You're in my wheelhouse now, boy. Anyway, I've got duffel coats and Brody helmets.
Yes.
What an eternal look
that's a
for the
vibe.
Royal Navy.
It's a vibe.
Beautiful, beautiful. A nice little, lesser spotted 1908 pattern belt on a Royal Marine
On the
guard.
Royal Marine on the door.
And he had like a 1908 bayonet frog with no bayonet. Just a nice little thing.
Yeah.
You don't often see Royal Marines in their actual Royal Marine uniforms. They're usually in battle dress at this time of the war.
That is true. That is
quite
true,
rare to
actually.
see it.
Yeah.
Nothing else really. Joking. There's tons. The model work is just the model work in this
is great.
is superb.
There's a website that did like side by sides of the model to photos of the Bismarck, which was quite cool. And it's pretty good, you know. It's pretty good. I was impressed. The fairy sawfish, amazing.
Oh, yeah,
lovely little shots of those.
Yeah, great. Some great original
and the
footage.
actual original foot. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and some
hive mind.
Great model work of them coming in like bobbing up and down with the spray going everywhere. It's brilliant.
The whole sequence where they almost accidentally attack Sheffield.
Yes.
And the magnetic detonators
don't go
explode
off
on impact. That's a great little sequence.
It's brilliant. I was watching Dan Snow's documentary on the sinking of the Bismarck earlier today, and there's some fantastic first-hand accounts from those ferry swordfish pilots saying that when
I remember seeing a documentary in the 90s about it. And they had a couple of the lads interviewed. It was amazing.
Yeah, when they're coming into the Bismarck and it's firing its main guns, trying to sort of hit the spray and take out the swordfish, and then they weren't firing at them, and they started, and all the sort of like ship was ablaze with flak. Just absolutely must have been absolutely terrifying. But talking of flak, there's a blink and you'll miss it sequence in this of a Spitfire. I assume it's a gun camera Spitfire plane.
Yeah. Like a reconnaissance one.
Reconnaissance one, yeah, and it's sort of trying to take photos of the Bismarck flying around. And there's a real blink and you'll miss it shot of the guy in the cockpit looking out over the sea, and then there's these little puffs of black smoke going around him. And for me, hyperbolic, but pound for pound, one of the best little flak sequences of representation I've ever seen.
And Howard Lidecker coming in strong with that one, definitely.
Really great.
That's got him all over it.
And this movie has a lot of that, like really small little detailed like pieces on camera that don't need to be in it, but it's there. You know, down to the set dressing of the ships and the viewing rooms. Long time listeners will know what a viewing room is. It's a ship's, I want to say cockpit, but I know that's wrong.
Bridge.
Deck, bridge. Yes, there we go. I just think Star Trek, and that'll put me on the right path. There's some great little, like, just, it feels lived in. These ships feel lived in. You know, you see the Bismarck, you see the Hood, you see the Prince of Wales, whatever ship it is. They seem like real ships. And I know, obviously, if you're filming on the Belfast, it's going to look that way. But you've made them seem like they've been at sea.
I think they filmed some of the Admiral's wardroom that is supposed to be on Ark Royal I want to say the Vanguard.
Yeah,
but it could have easily just been a set that was really well dimensioned.
And it's a lovely.
So that wardroom looks really
really
good.
Is, isn't it? Yeah, but it's a real lovely juxtapose because obviously a lot of this movie is set in the war room, which is really confined and closed. And then when you get these sea-based sequences, it really lets the film breathe. And it reminds you that you're watching something that is going on while Kenneth More sequences are going on. And it really complements it well. I think the pitfall of this movie is the sea sequences are amazing and the map room sequences are not as interesting, or vice versa. But this movie really gets it just about right. I never was watching it thinking, oh, I'm bored of more now, I want to see more ships. I was never thinking that, but I think that could be the pitfall here, but they don't fall into that.
No, well, I did read that the actual operation was handled from Liverpool rather than London.
That would make sense.
Which we visited the bunker.
It's a cracking visit,
West Approaches
really
bunker,
is.
which is a really cool place. But yeah, I know what you mean. So it kind of goes for this pseudo documentary style with the introduction of Ed Moreau, where he does his little piece to camera, but he's actually recording his program
at times.
Yeah. And then you
he's
get
waiting
this,
for the check to cash.
Yeah, you get the balance. You get the balance of more in the war room and the various ships. You aren't really introduced to individuals on the vessels.
No, and I think it's better for that.
Yeah, they hint at, now we're going to cut to the Hood. Now we're going to cut to X, and you get like a little. There's little nods in the dialogue that kind of key you in, but there's no clunkiness to it. It flows really well. It feels very organic the way they do it. You know, there's a really nice transition at one point where either Winter or Moore moves one of the pieces on the plotting board, and then it cuts to a ship. Like there's a nice crossfade into a model, and then you're on the bridge.
Yeah, it's good.
It leads in quite nicely in a lot of ways.
In the viewing room. And we have to induct the fairy swordfish, all of them, into the FOF home for retired seaplanes in war movies, alongside Peter O'Toole's Grumman from Murphy's War. So build another hangar and get them in there. Pour them a lovely
and that plane
cup of tea.
That Roger Moore flew in.
They're all in there.
Shout at the Devil.
Yep, they're all in there. And then there's the benevolent Bedford wing with all lots of poorly beddies in it. If you are a long-time listener, you will know. And if you're not, that'll be really weird. But anyway, favourite scenes, I think.
War movie adjacent. I knew the Patreons wanted more, and Matthew Moss for my sins gave me more. reported up to me like room service. A real choice Patreon exclusive series. Monthly. Ad-free. Join the supporting cast today for as little as £2.50 per month and get access to this new series and never get off the boat.
One that always stood out to me, having watched this with my granddad years and years ago in the 90s, probably Channel 4 one afternoon, was the blood dripping down the speaking tube, the voice pipe, on HMS Prince of Wales.
Yes.
Down into the plotting room, the navigator's space, and it drips onto the table. He's trying to shout up and get the bearing, and then the blood drips through when there's a shell strike on the viewing room, and blood pools, and he puts his fingers in it, and some people for some reason thought that was meant to be oil, but I always knew that it was blood. It's the guy is slumped over the voice tube.
There's a piece of,
but it's very effective. It's a very visceral,
no, it really is.
Very effective scene.
There's a lot more in here than you'd think. I think for a movie like this, it has the cruel sea kind of bleakness to it at times. But there's a piece of first-hand account. I forget what ship the chap was on. It could even be the ship you're talking about, where he said that he went into a deck that had been hit, and it was the first time that he'd seen dead bodies, and he said there were just little bits of flesh everywhere, and he didn't realise that the ship had been hit, and it said it stayed with him. So, it's based in fact, these scenes, and it is quite affecting. That scene really is, because you're like, oh yes, there are, a ship doesn't like it when a 8-ton tons of steel hits them. It's
well, you can have as many shots as you like of Lydecker's great little model work, special effects, puffs of smoke, and like Bismarck being bracketed by shells, and then getting a couple of hits, and you can have all of that, but until you see like the human toll of it, that really hammers it home. I think one thing I will say is that this is a far grittier film, I think, than Battle of the River Plate. If you compare it to something similar in the vein, it's it's quietly gritty. It's gritty on the sly at times. You don't think of it, and then you watch and you think, actually, this is quite This is
there's
quite
a respect
closely
here
cut.
for the men on the ships, which I think is sometimes lost, not in every naval film, but some of them. I think it can be a bit more bravado, daring do than, oh my gosh, there's thousands of men on these, floating houses essentially with guns on them. And, when they get hit, they go up, and boy, howdy do they. And my favourite scene, it's not right to say it, affecting scene, I guess, is when the hood goes up and they smash cut to one of the officers looking through binoculars, and he just goes, "Good God." And it's such a really affecting moment. The model work is really, really good. And I don't know if they actually use the footage from the Bismarck of when the hood, or the pictures and when the hood got hit. Because there is a picture, I think, out there. I think using the old Mine Palace there. But it's just staggering, that happened, and the way the movie does it. It does it like the Cruel Sea does it, where you get to, in this movie, unlike the Cruel Sea, you get to see the destruction of that 1 in a million shot on the hood. But then you get everyone else's reaction, and not just a officer, but you get a rating as well. And they're all looking, oh, the hood's not there anymore. And it's such a shocking thing. And I think it might be lost on audiences today, not our audience, I know for a fact. But if you're new to these kind of movies, you got to remember that the hood is the ship. It's the Royal Navy's. It's not. It's like their flagship. It's a like an institution. This ship, really. It goes on tours in the 20s.
It definitely was an institution. Yeah.
It's not that it's not unsinkable, but the fact that
it's a symbol of national pride, wasn't it? It was
that's it.
A
That's
very
the word
significant
I'm looking for.
battleship.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was a ship of an older design. It was understood that head deck armor was not as strong as it should be
didn't
against
get a refit
ships
in the
of
30s. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing that in a documentary. Basically, Bismarck's guns could easily penetrate the deck armor, and that's what happened to her magazine, and
Mm.
she went up. They reckon in the film it shows her going broadside on relatively early in the action. She goes straight on, but in reality, they closed distance for quite a while, and they were using their forward guns, and then they turned, and they think that when she turned, that kind of like put the lean on and
Okay.
made the optimal angle for that 1 in a million hit from Bismarck, taking out the magazine,
Yeah, but I just
which
the way
is
the movie
insane, really, when you think
it's
about the odds.
crazy. You know, it really is. And but the way the movie handles it really well, and it doesn't linger on it
Does.
either, because then you're straight onto the chase and then the eventual battle to down the Bismarck. And there's also bits where where Moore comes into play here. So there's a part where Moore's son is a pilot. He's lost, and then he eventually does get picked up by, I think it's a destroyer or a cruiser, they say. And there's this great scene where you hear crying, but you don't see it. And then you see this lovely little shot of Moore having a cry, and he's mirrored. There's a mirror in front of him, and you see him wiping a tear. And then he goes straight back out, and it's prim and proper, and he's back to doing his job to finish help finish the battle. But it's a great scene, and it's a great little turn from Moore because it humanizes him. Because all the way through, they've been saying he's this hard man, he wants things done the prim and proper way. He doesn't want men eating sandwiches at their desks. It's all kind of like
Fraternizing with Wrens,
all that
all
kind
the
of
usual
thing.
prim and proper stuff. Although he doesn't really benefit from a particularly good handover, does he?
Not
The guy
really.
he takes over from at the beginning of the film just goes, yeah, and this is the table where we plot out things, and this is
Yeah.
the lady that helps me, and this is my second in command, and the radio operator's over there. Anyway, I'm off now. If you have any questions,
Bye.
do let me know.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then he just goes.
exactly.
Great.
But no,
Thrown in at the deep end.
it is a great little scene from Moore, and it humanizes him yet again. I'm going to make a cruel sea comparison. It's the sort of straw that breaks the camel's back of the stiff upper lipness of these kind of 60s or 50s 60s portrayals of British officer class, where they are stoic, they do not cry, they do not have emotion. But these are two movies that break from that. And Angels 1-5 does as well a little bit as well. And I think these movies are a lot more deeper than we give them credit for. And I think Sink the Bismarck is another great example of the what a war film can be when it wants to be. And I think
Yeah.
we lost it for a while, but I think it's coming back with movies like Warfare and things like that. We're remembering that we can put emotion into these events, and movies are all the better for it. Well,
Yeah, and to that end, I actually like the end where Moore's exhausted and he just leans over and contemplates the board one more time, and then picks up the Bismarck and puts it in his pocket quietly. And goes into his office.
that's
I
the
really
end
like
of
that.
that.
That's a really nice
Yeah.
bookend to the
I feel like
film and to the sequence.
if we had another scene, he'd get home, he'd meet his son, they'd embrace, he'd pour him a little drink, and then we'd get a lovely little shot of him putting it on the mantle, and then the credits would roll. I feel like that could have happened. The character would do that. Little reminder. Well, one more thing I want to mention is how off-putting and kind of scary is that sort of German propaganda film smash cut at the start.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I mean,
It's-
talk about PTSD
Gave me
inducing.
a fro. I was
If
making
you
a cup
had
of tea. I nearly dropped my kettle. It really
straight
scared me.
into Bismarck's launch and
Yeah.
just classic Nazi propaganda narration.
The Kriegsmarine,
Like, oh,
you got that really proper like
yeah.
German pronunciation of like the way they did the Wochenschau. Like it's that such. It's like it's shouting at you. It's like really sort of eerie,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it does set the Bismarck up as a, I swear, but a big fucker. Like this thing's huge.
Well, Ed Moreau's little sequence does a little bit of that as well, doesn't he? And he then talks about the U-boat threat and the surface raiders and stuff. It's quite funny because in that sequence you can tell that they're just nodding to the fact that the U-boats were far, far, far more effective
Yeah.
a threat than the surface raiders like the Bismarck and
Well, they don't really put
Prince
any more
Eugen
out
were.
after the Bismarck is sunk. They don't really do that anymore. And then you think of the amount of money that you've poured into the Bismarck and the Tirpitz, you could have made probably about 40 to 50 U-boats more. Anyway, Matt knows my sort of Kriegsmarine views. They didn't really get enough stuff. Anyway, but yeah, any more for the?
That's their problem all around.
It really is. Yeah, yeah. Any more for the favourite scenes before we go into final thoughts?
No, I tell you what I do like when the captain of the Sheffield inaudibly swears at the swordfish.
Oh, yeah. That's a great little
Calls them
moment.
fucking bastards or something. If my lip reading is right.
It's like Bataan, where they cut in with sound. Yeah, that's a nice little thing. That it's great. Yeah. It's, again, like humanizes people. Like it's great. Movie does a great thing of this. But yeah, I think that brings us in to final thoughts.
Hi, I'm Dr. Victoria Taylor, author of Eagle Days, Life and Death for the Luftwaffe in the Battle of Britain, and you're listening to Fighting on Film.
I really enjoy this film. I hadn't seen it. I think I said to Matt I hadn't seen it since Charlton were in the Premier League last, and that was like 2008-ish when they got relegated. Weird remembering there, but how we do it on FOF. But it's a great little film, and I love how it shows the intelligence part of it with the map plotting, and then how, as I said earlier, they gel with the sea battle parts, and it's reminiscent of Angels 1.5 to me. It's like the naval version of Angels 1.5 in some respects, but not all. But there's just so many great little factors at play here, and it really rattles along. Like it's an hour and 40, but it doesn't feel like that. I paused it. I think I paused it to go and make another cup of tea or something, and I thought, oh, okay, I've probably got an hour left. I was like 10 minutes from the end, and I thought, wow. Like I've really just sat here and just it's kept my attention. And I must admit, sometimes on the show, it can be a slog to finish some of these movies because of pacing issues or something. But this movie has something here. It's hard to fully describe it, but it's such a good little, like real Sunday afternoon vibes to it. There's something here.
Well, yeah, it fits into that whole category of, the classic era of British war movies. Although we're heading into sort of the tail end of that golden
really
50s
are.
period, aren't we? Into the early 60s. But it still has all the hallmarks, and it still has all the recognizable faces and the kind of finesse that a lot of the directors and the production side of things brought to these films that we associate with that golden era. And More is infinitely watchable. Everyone knows I really like More. We talked about when we did Northwest Frontier and
he's a mark of quality. He's like
he is. He's a great actor.
He's like Guinness. Oldman. He has it, doesn't he? Yeah.
He has this charm, this charisma to him. Even when he's playing someone that's irascible, like Shepard is at the beginning of the film. I really like how the film sets up the initial hunt. Like they go, we can't be certain, but the Bismarck may have slipped the net and gone into the Atlantic, and they're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they spend the next 10-15 minutes of the film trying to find it. And of course, at this point, they couldn't talk about Enigma and how they cracked the code and how they had some inclination of some of the naval codes and all that kind of stuff about where it might have been.
Yeah, they don't mention that Bletchley Park intercepted a Luftwaffe radio transcribe saying that they're nearly in our air cover, and that's how they got to find them. Yeah. Do they do that? Do they? Sorry to interject again. Do they show the Catalina flying boat spotting her off of Ireland?
They do. I think they do.
I can't remember.
There's a bit where they're looking into a fjord in Norway.
Oh, it could be that. They might have
something like that. I
made something up. Yeah,
I'm afraid. But no, I know what you mean. There is a sequence. There is an aerial sequence where there is a spotter plane trying to find them, but it might be
it could be that. Yeah, it might
be one of the swordfish sequences because the swordfish go on like multiple sorties to try and track her down within a bearing that they already have. But yeah, so I like that. I like that preamble, that beginning. It gives it some real jeopardy. And then you get into this cat and mouse chase, and for the most part, it's pretty authentic and accurate to what actually happened. Obviously, HMS Solent didn't exist and wasn't
No.
badly damaged, destroyed by Bismarck at the end of the battle. Some of the characters a little bit caricatured, as you said, from that contemporary review. The Nazis are most certainly Nazis in this, but I don't think it's a massive detriment to the film, because really what we're doing is we're following Moore and the crews of the ships more than the Germans. The Germans are just there to kind of progress along. The actual Bismarck's captain doesn't really have a great deal to do or say in the film.
Not
It's
really.
more on the shoulders of the Lutyens' character. I think it's a grittier film than the Battle of the River Plate. I think it has an element of it where, as I said earlier, there is this degree of grit to it that kind of just comes in under the radar. You're not necessarily expecting it. As I said, the blood from the speaking tube, the chap being crushed at the end, the fire, the screams, all very, very effective. And it certainly does give it a little bit more of a bite than some films of the period that cover naval matters. There's a really good supporting cast. Winter gets to do a little bit. She's given this really interesting role of teasing out the character of Shepard to pull out his trauma. From we learn that his wife was killed in the Blitz. Moore has this really great little turn where he describes how he went home and every house on his street was absolutely fine, and just as he remembered, he'd just been sunk in off the coast of Norway on one of his destroyers, and he is walking down his road and finds that out of all the houses, the only one destroyed was his house, and his wife was in it when she was killed.
Yeah.
And he has this lovely little bit of dialogue where he says, and at that moment I vowed that I would never, feel that kind of emotion towards another person again. But then I remembered about my son, and then we learned that his son's a Fleet Air Arm air crew member who is downed and then luckily picked up. But I think the way that his character develops throughout the film is very, very deftly done. It's not it's not clunky by the numbers.
No.
The film kind
Yeah.
of teases it out, and it adds to the human element and the jeopardy of finding the Bismarck in a really organic way, I think.
No, it does. Yeah, and as I said about the pacing, like the pacing's really great. That I've got down too that Moore is at the peak of his fame here. Really, if you believe what certain film historians say about his career, that it kind of never recovered after 1960. Me and Matt don't think so. We think he still had a good run afterwards. But no, Moore is on absolute form here, and it's great casting alongside him, and he doesn't overshadow anyone else either. I think some of these 50s war films are, and certainly 60s ones and later, they can be a bit cast heavy, where it's the cast are really pulling this one through. Think Force 10 from Navarone. I love it, but the cast is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that one. It can't be, it can't. It's not. It's true, but this movie it gets it right, where you have a good plot, a great cast, really great battle sequences, and it just culminates in this really lovely little gem. And I wonder, and am I being a bit too, again, hyperbolic? Is it overlooked in the pantheon of Navy films, or is it not?
I would say it's overlooked within the pantheon of those British classics.
Okay.
I think
wanted to know
when
your
you
take
talk
on it.
about Navy films, I think people do think of Sink the Bismarck, River Plate, The Sea Shall Not Have Them, Cruel Sea, But I feel like a little bit like I Was Monty's Double, it kind of gets forgotten a little bit, I think,
Maybe.
within the sphere of those classic British war movies,
Yeah.
in that it's not one that everyone goes, oh yeah,
Maybe because it comes
everyone's
out
seen it, everyone likes it,
everyone loves
but
it.
not one.
Yeah.
It's not one that everyone goes, oh yeah, it's one of my favorites off the top of their head. But if you remind them of it, they'll go, oh yeah, that's a great one.
I think you're right. Is it because it comes out in 60? If it came out in 59, 57,
I don't know. Is it the fact that it's more?
could
If it had
be,
been
couldn't it?
Todd, would it have been a bigger? Would it have people?
Yeah,
I
interesting.
don't know because more, as we've already said, Moore is great in this, and he's a great actor. But is Shepard that memorable character like we have in
Yeah,
Dan
no, that's a
Busters, like we
point.
have in
Because he's not based on
Cruel
a real
Sea?
person, is he? He is based on a real person, obviously, but the character isn't. He's a
Yeah.
made up person.
Mm.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe it's the weight of the character rather than the actor portraying. Because I feel like if he'd even had Todd in that same role, I don't know whether it would have been like, oh yeah, of course, Shepard in Sink the Bismarck. It's not like everyone goes, Jack Hawkins' his character in Cruel Sea. It's
Ericsson,
like,
yeah.
Ericsson.
It's
obviously.
weird, isn't it? It's just interesting. Yeah, I just thought I'd sort of, plate that up for you there. No, but I love it though. I think it's really great. Obviously, the FOF fans love it
yeah.
because they gave us a lot of one-word reviews.
Well picked by the Patreon supporters as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for supporting over there and obviously getting involved with these picks every month.
And thanks for putting Matt on a streak. I'll have to really think of some absolute gems next month.
Just gonna have to up your game.
Oh wow! There's still time for me to claw it back, Matt. There's still time. So I think that brings us on to this week's large question, which was your favourite or best war film cast or actor pairings, daring duos, immortal team ups. The choice was yours. So Brian Williams kicks us off. It is, of course, Harris, Burton, and Moore in The Wild Geese. Kevin Getz says, "How about a foursome?" Very forward, Kevin. No, it's it is of course, it's Todd and the man who played Lovett in The Longest Day, alongside the Genuine Men, who they played in the movie. Of course, absolutely wouldn't be anything else from Kevin. A.D. Bond goes Wynters and Nixon from Band of Brothers. Paul says, not a film duo, but from a TV series, Sharp. I'm going to go with Sharp and Harper. I mean, yeah, great chemistry from those two. Brian Williams goes with Attenborough and Jackson from The Great Escape. Marky Mark goes There Is Only One. He goes for Tom Hanks and Tom Sizemore from Saving Private Ryan, Horvath and Miller. Harvey Griffith goes Crow and Bettany from Master and Commander. I know Matt will like that one.
Love it. Yeah, that is great. I mean, the series of books is embodied so well with those two. It's just it's why everyone really likes it, that's seen it, that understands what they're trying to go for with the film.
Did I hear? Or are we not? Or a prequel?
They talked about it all the time.
They keep talking about it. Yeah.
They're going to have to do it with other actors now, which is a real shame.
It is a shame.
If they did it at all.
Maybe you could reprise Bettany and maybe do it like later on, perhaps? I don't know.
Maybe.
Interesting. Craig Errol V1 goes Wing Commander Grant and Flying Officer Hoppy Hopkinson. It's Cliff Robertson and Angus Lenny from 633 Squadron. They do make a good pair in that movie. Nigel Leaney goes Kane and Fox from Bridge Too Far. Bert Plumswag, Kane and Baker from Zulu. And then Robert Oakhill round us off this week. And he goes, probably these two fine chaps, Gregory Peck and David Niven in Guns of Navarone. And there was plenty more. But thank you so much for getting involved there. Matt, your favourite war film cast pairing?
I've got two. I've got Kane and Connery in The Man Who Will Be King.
Oh, you mentioned it the other week. Yes, no, I agree.
Just they're great together in that film. And then my other would be, of course, Captain Mannering and Sergeant Wilson from Dad's Army.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you can have the film too, and the TV series. Yeah. No, that's great. That really good. So I'm going to go for Clint Eastwood and Richard Burton from Where Eagles Dare, but then I offer you up a very obscure one. Well, not very obscure if you're a fan of the show, but I'm going for Stanley Baker and Philip Ann from Yesterday's Enemy.
Oh, okay.
Because he doesn't come in until the latter part of the film, but he is the foil to Baker. He's the Japanese officer. Baker is the British officer, and they're both doing the kind of the same things. They're rough and ready. They don't mind breaking the rules to get their point across. But that movie for me, I think it's Baker's finest role in any film that he does, even supersedes Zulu in some respects.
Wow.
Yeah, but no, if you want to see a great performance from Anne and Baker, Yesterday's Enemy is one to search out. It's really
Great
great.
film.
And our episode with the Hammer horror historian that came on and talked to us about Yesterday's Enemy was an absolute cracker too.
Yeah.
Yes. So a little bit of FOF housekeeping before we end this week. FOF is 5 years old in October.
5.
We're going for 5 years, Matt.
5 whole years.
I know, right? We haven't even done some of the classics yet. Well, depending on what you think's a classic, but
Pacing ourselves. That's what that's called. That's called pacing ourselves.
we've got to do a decade of FOF. Come on.
We're doing the FOF method over here. We're pacing ourselves.
The FOF method. Yes, I love it. So there will be a call for AMA questions for a 5th birthday special AMA Ask Us Anything episode. Do get your questions in when you see those out on the socials. Patreons, I'll be putting a thing up for you as well. Before that episode drops, we want to say a big thank you for sticking with us for the last 5 years. And may there be many, many more war movies released and to be reviewed. And by gosh, there are.
Here. Also, we are, again, being more active on YouTube, on the FOF YouTube. If you want to follow us over there, you can find us simply by searching Fighting on Film. We are going to be catching up because the nature of the beast is that Acast used to natively upload videos of each episode, but then they stopped doing that and we didn't keep up because we were busy.
We didn't even realise for a bit, did we?
We didn't, that's very true. Yes, missed that email. But what we're doing now is we're going to upload a couple of episodes a week alongside the latest episodes. So check that out. Also, we're going to be doing some fresh new content over there.
Yeah,
Rob is cooking
little
up
docs,
some
things like
absolute
that.
bangers. We're going to be doing some bits and bobs. I'm going to talk through some of my little bits of war movie paraphernalia.
Yeah.
Ephemera. I'm going to do some videos on that. Check it out.
Yeah, please do go and subscribe because it all helps the show. And all that's left to say is don't forget to support us on whatever you're listening on. Drop us a 5-star review. It really helps the show be seen and give us a little morale boost at FOF HQ. You've been the listeners. We've been Fighting on Film. Do join us next week for our big birthday bash. And we'll catch you next time.
5 whole years.
5 more years of FOF. We'll catch you next week, folks. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Au revoir.
Au revoir.